afterwards to chat and get to know everybody. I'd love to get to know the new people that I haven't met yet because I was busy setting up. Sorry about that. So the reason we're having this guy here, one of the reasons I wanted to bring him in today is because, well, it's great stuff he's going to teach. He actually taught this several years ago, taught me, and a lot of stuff about street hypnosis. And I went out and started doing street hypnosis, and then my life was changed forever. But also what he's going to teach today is really appropriate for hypnotherapists to learn some rapid techniques and some alternatives to the traditional, maybe progressive relaxation. And Shawn will tell you like why you might want to use these, I think. He's also going to teach stuff that would be translatable to the stage if you want to do stage stuff, whether that's actual stage, comedy stage hypnosis shows, or doing talks with hypnosis, and you want to do a demonstration. And then, of course, for street hypnosis. And as the weather has gotten better now, the reason we really want to have him come in now is because after about this time, we can all start going out and doing street hypnosis together. And many of us, we will get together, we'll take a sign out, and we get people like an Alki or something, they'll come over and get hypnotized, or they won't. And it's great. So our presenter today, he's speaking on Hypnosis Unbound. While many practitioners are comfortable in one area or another, growth and a greater depth of understanding can come from using established skills in new contexts. This talk, whether you're a hypnotherapist or a performing hypnotist, this is going to be great for you. And for those of you new to hypnosis or completely unfamiliar with the field, it's going to be helpful for you as well. And if you're watching live right now, please comment below where you're watching from. We'd love to know that. We won't be interacting because I'm going to be somewhere else. Shawn Summers is a hypnotherapist and NLP practitioner. He's based in the Seattle area. He's been a hypnotherapist registered with Washington State Department of Health since 2012. And he's been a member of the National Guild since 2012. And from 2013 through 19, he was the president of the Washington chapter of the National Guild of Hypnotists. Everyone, big round of applause for my friend Shawn Summers. Hello, sir. And I completely forgot to wear this. And if you wear this, it'll be great.
How do we?
You just
Anoint me, be so kind.
yes. Let's see. We'll do it like
This one's getting a medal.
There you are, exactly.
A medal of accomplishment. Sorry, I'm looking at the screen to see how far I can go before I am not there. Okay, forget that part. Forget that part. You didn't see that. So, I was, yes?
You have the screen too, so I'm going to turn it. Just kick out.
I have two screens?
Yeah.
I'm biscreenal?
You're good. You're biscreenal.
Danny's is the official, so we'll play to that.
Can we scoot that one over by the bridge?
Oh, I can't, because I can't fit over there without getting in their way.
Could I just try it? Could
You
I
can
just...
try anything.
Anything?
Oh,
See, I didn't realize that was...
Anything that's going on the floor.
Hello, Aaron. That was funny. All right, we've got one sign on. Aaron moved to California. So
Aaron, thanks for coming. I can't see you, but I'm glad you're here.
Hi, Aaron. Okay, let's get going.
Barb is glad you're here. Everyone's glad you're here. Everyone, Aaron.
Yes.
And that's the perk of signing on. Okay, so I was going to start this talk, and I figured, why don't we just walk the walk for a while? Then we'll come back. We'll talk about the walk. We'll talk about what we did, why we did it, and what we're going to do from here. So let's just start. It's a sunny day, and like many sunny days in the last, I don't know, year, 2 years. If you were out and about in various places at various times, minding your own business, you may have run across some hypnotists. And one of them might have been saying things like, straight hypnosis here today, stop and stand for some mental play. We'll have a laugh, we'll have a smile, brain exercise, hypnosis style. We're not doing therapy here today, just a bit of mind play. We'll do some concentration tests, then just relax, let us do the rest. No need to be timid, no need to be shy, no need to simply walk on by. Stop and stand, you'll be glad you stayed. And if not, we'll refund all that you paid. If you like my call, my pitch, my patter to play, then you better come now. We're not here all day. And too late will be the cry when the man with hypnosis has passed you by. Next time you're stressed, oh, how you'll sigh that you didn't give hypnosis just one quick try. Don't think you can't be hypnotized. Just take a moment to realize we don't put you in a trance. We just change the trance you're already in. And if you can't see an opportunity for fun and adventure here today, you don't need a hypnotist. You're already sleepwalking. So, this looks like a good group. By the way, Barb, I love that shirt.
you.
Look at the
Shawn.
skirt, the scarf. You can't see it, but trust me, awesome. I don't know what to do with it.
It's just signing in. People are
Oh,
signing
well, good. More people. Always welcome. Fabulous. So I'd like us to go ahead and start with something. I think we're all here. You're ready to try some mental exercise, the fun kind, some mind games, but the good kind, some cerebral stretches, some cognitive calisthenics. Does that sound like something we'd like to do? Yes? I'm going to assume yes. Excellent. So just a bit of housekeeping. Oh, wait. Oh, sorry. Wait. This will be relevant later. Sorry, I should have done this earlier. Good. There are three common misconceptions about hypnosis that can get in the way of you having your best experience. One, people wonder about a loss of control. There is no loss of control. While you're in hypnosis, you'll never do anything that you wouldn't do in your daily waking state. You won't violate any of your moral, religious, or personal beliefs or values, or do anything you think is just too silly for you. So if I were to say, go stand on your head, if you didn't want to do it, you just won't do it. There is no loss of control. Next, people wonder about telling secrets. Well, again, there's no loss of control, so there's no loss of control of you keeping your secrets. If you weren't going to share your Netflix password with me over a cup of coffee, which I could desperately use right now, you aren't going to do it while you're under hypnosis. And finally, people wonder about getting stuck in hypnosis. 4,000 years of doing hypnosis, nobody gets stuck, but sometimes it can feel so good. You wish you could get stuck, but you can't. So, do you have any questions before we continue hypnotizing you? Great, because even if you did, I'm not going to answer them now because we're doing something a little different today. We'd hold those toward the end. So all comments, kibitzes, and questions, they're going to go to the end or when I ask for them later sometime in the nebulous yet to be defined future. So moving on, just a little bit of housekeeping. Oh, darn it, I went too long. That's okay, it'll become relevant later. -10. So one bit of housekeeping I'd like you to do. Now, just to keep a little bit of order, at various times, I will need you to concentrate and I'll need you to focus up here. So whenever I have my hand up like this, I just want you to focus right here. Just focus on my palm. Just focus right here in the center of my hand. Whenever it comes up, just, you know I'm drawing focus, just bring the focus right in here. So it goes like this. We're going to practice. Whenever I go like this, you just focus right here. And just imagine a dot right here. Just focus. Want it to happen, expect it to happen, watch it happen. I know when you do this and I go like this, it will happen because I put a dot here earlier, so it'd be even easier for you. Whether it's this dot, that dot, doesn't matter. When I do hold up my hand, just focus right here, okay? Now, let's just dive right in. So, first, in a moment, I'm going to ask you to take a deep breath, and I want you to have it, draw it in through your nose and just all the way down your spine to your toes, okay? So, go ahead and do that now. We'll take a deep breath in through your nose, all the way down your spine to your toes, and go ahead and let that out. Take another deep breath in, all the way down your spine to your toes and out to the tips of your fingers. Good. And as you let that out, just feel your body start to relax. Good. Now, as you look at my hand and you follow it up, take a deep breath in. Hold it for just a moment. As my hand goes down, just let those eyes close right on down as you exhale. Now relax your eyes and the muscles around your eyes so completely that as long as you maintain that level of relaxation, as long as you hold that relaxation, your eyes will just remain closed. They don't even want to open. They can't even open. They're too relaxed, too heavy. Like a garage door with no power to it. It's too heavy to lift. As long as you hold that relaxation, your eyes cannot open. And once you've relaxed your eyes to the point that you know they just won't open, give them a tug and a try and satisfy yourself that they're just sealed shut with relaxation. And the harder you try, the tighter they seal. And the tighter they seal, the deeper you go. Stop trying now and relax even deeper down. Now take that same quality of relaxation and allow it to flow down from the top of your head, down in a warm, relaxing wave, all the way down and through you, out to the tips of each and every finger, down to the tips of each and every toe, like warm water flowing through every fiber of a sponge, from head all the way down to the tip of each and every finger and toe, so very relaxed. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to open your eyes and close them again. And when I do, just let yourself go 10 times deeper than you are right now. Open your eyes and close them 10 times deeper now, feeling your weight pulled toward the center of the earth by gravity, feeling that chair pushing up toward your body, safe and sound, feet on the ground, adjusting your body for maximum comfort. Safe there in the chair, feet on the ground, deeper and deeper down. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to open your eyes and close them again, and this time just double the relaxation you've already created. Open your eyes and close them, doubling that relaxation, feeling every muscle, every nerve, and every fiber just letting go. You may begin to feel the natural beat of your heart flowing in parts of your body you don't normally sense it. Like rocks in a pond, muscular tension can block the feeling and flow through your body, but now they're gone. So those those waves, they propagate further through the tissues. So don't be surprised if you feel your heartbeat strong and natural in places you don't normally sense it. Limbs may start to feel heavy, may start to tingle. Just let yourself go deeper and deeper. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to open your eyes and close them again, and this time, just go as deep as you want. Open your eyes and close them on down as deep as you want. Now, the only limit is the limit of your imagination. Whatever you see, feel, think, that is absolutely perfect and proper for you at this moment. Good. Now take your right hand. Take your right hand and just go ahead and pull that into a fist. Pull that into a fist and feel your fingers coming back together toward your palm. And now just push that fist out straight in front of you. Straight in front at the height of your shoulder, parallel to the floor. That's right. And just tighten that fist. And as you tighten that fist, feel that tension going up your arm to your shoulder. Tighter and tighter, tighter and tighter, like steel, like solid stone or steel. Tighter and tighter, tighter and tighter. And once you know that tension is flowing through, turning that arm to stone and steel, locked tight, tighter and tighter, couldn't be tighter. Focus on that. Tighter, 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 tighter. Solid steel, solid steel. Try and bend it. And the more you try to bend it, the tighter it is. The more you force it to try to bend it, the tighter it is. And then stop trying. As I snap my fingers, let it melt back down like hot wax, melting back down to the table. Floating down, relaxing even deeper. Go ahead, floating down now. Fingertips relaxing, expanding, flowing out like melting wax. Wonderful. Now, you've done a wonderful job creating all the physical relaxation you could need, and now we're going to work on mental relaxation. So in a moment, I'm going to have you mentally count backwards from 100 toward 1. Notice that's a direction, not a destination. It's like telling you you're going south on a freeway. It's a direction, not a destination. You're going to count backwards from 100 toward 1. And with every number, you're going to double your mental relaxation until you've let every other number just grow dim and distant and fade right out of your mind. Your destination is that mental location where the numbers don't exist in your mind. And like numbers on a freeway, the numbers you're counting are just signposts along your journey to that mental destination. If you go too fast, you'll miss your turn. You'll be in the wrong place. So at whatever pace, a glacial, slow pace, don't miss your turn. At every number, take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, double your mental relaxation. Begin now, counting backward. And by the time you get to 95 or even before, you will have lost the numbers, doubling your mental relaxation until they're dim, distant, fade away, like ripples on a pond until they grow still. And once you've done that, go ahead and let your head just sink a little further forward so I know that you're there. If at some point you find you've gone beyond 95, you know you've missed your turn, and just go back to 100. Go a little slower. Double your mental relaxation till they've dimmed and become distant and just faded away completely. That's right. And when they're completely gone, and you know they're gone, just let your head tip forward slightly so I know where we are. Good, that's right. Perfect. And again, if you need to circle back around, feel free. But find that place, that mental space where the numbers don't exist. Good. Now I want you to picture a staircase opening up before you. And with every step down, you're going to go deeper and deeper. First step, visualize it clearly, however it is for you. It could be beautiful wood, it could be stone. Whatever works for you, it could be made of light. Drifting down now at your own pace, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You notice a portal at the bottom. It's a doorway. It's a doorway to a place you may have already created in the past, and if not, it's a great time to create it now. And I want you to create it in your mind as you get down to that bottom 10th step, and the portal opens. And what you see, it may be a single space that pops into your mind clearly. It may be cycling through a variety of scenes until the proper one comes to you. But this is a place of a perfect peace, of joy, of love, of total acceptance. This is your place. Deep down, deep inward. No one else knows it. No one else can touch it. This is a place for you, for rest, for recuperation, for nurture, to gain strength, to get in touch with all those resources you've accumulated consciously and subconsciously throughout your entire life. This is a place for you. Populate it with whatever symbolism works for you, friends, guides, guardians, playmates. Whatever works best for you. No one can see it. I can't describe it. But as the form comes into your mind, lock on to the details of it. Reach out and touch something. Feel a texture. See the colors of it becoming more rich, more vibrant, 360 degrees. Try to get something from every modality. Hear the breeze blowing through trees if there are trees, or just going across whatever there is. Any sound, make it crisp and clear and joyous. Temperature, humidity, every sense, try to bring it in. Sounds, feelings, textures, colors. Make it a vivid mind experience you'll go back to again and again. Like Superman's Fortress of Solitude, this is a place beyond anyone else's reach, touch, or knowledge, just for you, right here, right now, and throughout the future. And go ahead and nod once you've comfortably found your place and created it as you like. Good. Now, I'm going to invite whoever would like to spend the rest of the class in a trance to just stay in trance. Your learning might be accelerated. You'll just soak things up like a sponge, and we'll count you out at the very end. For those who want to stay in a learning trance throughout the rest of the program, go ahead and open your eyes now, fully aware and in trance, going even deeper as you open your eyes. For those of you who want to come out now, I'm going to count you up. For those who want to stay in the trance, you'll just absorb what I'm saying. It won't have any effect on you. You'll stay in a wonderful learning trance, soaking things up like a sponge, always in that background for you, ready whenever you need them. For those coming out of a trance now, I'm going to count from 1 to 5. When I reach 5, you'll be fully wide awake, aware, and out of the trance. 1, feeling wonderful. 2, ready to do all those things you now know how to do. 3, free from all past blocks, barriers, and binds. 4, ready to move forward into a new world of opportunities you're ready to use. 5, deep breath in, fully awake, aware, and alive. Feeling wonderful. I like that bit of oxygen. That was good for me. So now, why do we do that? Who recognizes that process, the first part, the induction that we used? Yes. Elman, correct. So, and yes, a modified Elman, but sorry, we don't have a lot of time. I want to go through, first of all, there's so much to cover. There's not a lot of time. So my apologies. I wanted to give everybody an experience of the Elman induction if you haven't had it right off the bat. If you already know the Elman, it's familiar to you, it's a good review, that's fine. It's always kind of fun to see somebody else do something that you know well. If you don't know it, it's an opportunity to see a new thing. So there's 6 steps to the Elman process, and I want everybody to at least have some handle on that before they leave, because I really think the Elman is just a workhorse. It is not an instant induction, it's a rapid induction process, and it's a process, it's not an induction. It's really the stacking of 6 other inductions, if you will. So there's a silly little rhyme I use that always helps me remember when I teach the Elman induction what those are. And there's a little physical business that goes along with that. So if you would follow along, with your hands and limbs. You don't need to stand up. Step 1, take a finger pointed high. Come on, come on. No? Take a finger pointed high. There we go. Pretend to poke yourself in the eye. First step, eye closure catalepsy. If you've ever been poked in the eye, that sucker stays closed like that. So the first thing is, you notice, one of the first things we did after a couple of breaths, just to kind of get people settled into what we were doing, was we went for eye closure. Small muscle catalepsy is the technical name. Step 1, small muscle catalepsy, which is eye closure. Step 1, take a finger pointed high, pretend to poke yourself in the eye, eye closure catalepsy. Step 2, take a peace sign head to toe, and soon you'll be relaxing so. And that's the break state between you did your eye closure catalepsy, and then in a moment you're going to do fractionation, we'll get to. We're going to do fractionation where you're telling a person to open their eyes and close their eyes. Well, those two, if you put them right next to each other, are kind of jarring, right? You just got them to completely relax their eyes. They can't open. They struggle, they can't open because you've sealed them shut. And then you're going to tell them to open your eyes. So it's kind of a clash, and it pulls people out. So this break state of this full body relaxation, A, I always love it. It feels great. And B, it's a wonderful way to bridge those two things. So step 3, 3 trips to Bernheim, 10 to deep. You can also do it 3 trips to Bernheim, 10 to deep is another way to do it. I always like to do a little physical stuff, because it just is a good memory aid. Because sometimes you'll remember, what the heck was this? What? And you'll go, 10 too deep. Yeah, 10 too deep. Or why was he having me pretend to poke myself in the eye? Oh yeah, eye closure catalepsy. It seems silly, it seems stupid. I find it very effective. And you can always just go, that's crazy, I'm never doing that. And you learn something that way. That guy's nuts, I'm never listening to him. So there's that. So step 1, take a finger pointed high, pretend to poke yourself in the eye, eye closure catalepsy. Step 2, take a peace sign head to toe, and soon you'll be relaxing so. 3 trips to Bernheim, 10 to deep. So Bernheim, Hippolyte Bernheim of the Nazi School. There's a chair right down there if you want it. I don't know what's happening in the background. There's commotion. There's motion, there's commotion, there's things. So Hippolyte Bernheim of the Nazi School in France. I'm probably mispronouncing that because je ne comprends pas français. Anyway, things, stuff, moving on. Live, just like the street. That's another thing about street hypnosis is, and why the name Hypnosis Unbound. Let's jump into that part of the talk now. I was going to have it be a bigger part, but A, there's not a lot of time, and B, I don't have that much to say about it. It's just a reiteration of, in pursuing mastery of our skill sets, it is completely understandable and natural that we will focus on a subset of things to build mastery, and that is absolutely to be praised at every step. At the same time, it's good not to lose sight of the fact that cross-training can strengthen us in our own thing. So whether it is sports or whether it's hypnosis, it's good to do things that are a little outside our main focus, because we see it from a different light. It's sort of like spinning, like you can look at a diamond from one side, but you spin it around, it has all those other faces. And so it's good to see things from multiple angles, good to try things in different ways, good to stretch just as a person. So I've noticed, and it's not always, I'm not saying this is universal, but I have noticed at times there's a certain tension between the different sides of the hypnotic house, if you will, the performance, street performance stage side of the house, and the change work therapeutic side of the house. And there are plenty of people, very accomplished hypnotists, like our current president, who does both. He does stage, he does hypnotherapy. Dave Ellman himself, he started as a stage guy. Then he built his practice teaching clinicians, doctors, dentists, that sort of thing. And you just go down the list. But there is a certain, I had an interaction with somebody, it wasn't even that long ago. And he said, it was at a hypnotic gathering. And he said, what have you been up to? And it was somebody, I didn't know him well. Seen him before, seemed like a nice guy. I always enjoyed talking to him, but I didn't know him that well. And I said, I've been doing, street hypnosis. And he said, that's not hypnosis. That's just effing with people, expletive deleted. And I thought, no, verbatim. And I thought, why am I talking to this person? And then with the uncaffeinated wit that I possess, I turned to him and I said, why am I talking to this person? And as you can imagine, the conversation ended pretty quickly after that. Haven't talked to him since, doesn't matter. Anyway, moving on. The point is, later, upon pondering it, I thought that actually was really skillful. If you think about it, if you strip away the content, just the structure of it was really skillful, because I was in one place and he did a total attitude change in about 7 words. That's not hypnosis. That's just with people, 8 words, 7, 8 words. how efficient. How efficient. I was feeling warmly toward him, and then I just could not possibly care less. And that's quite a drastic change. So just from a structural standpoint, I thought, wow, that's really efficient. If I ever want to produce that result, I've got a great model. If I ever want to give that impression, now I got a great way to do it. You elicit something about somebody and immediately deride it. That's pretty bulletproof. I think that would pretty much work at any point of time. But can I reverse engineer that? Can I take that and just flip it? And I realized, oh, yeah, I do that a lot. I will meet somebody, something will catch my eye because I have a crow brain, ooh, shiny, I want to know. And I'll ask them a question. And because I'm a curious, interested person, I get really curious and interested really quickly. I've got a friend down in Oregon who said, oh, I've got a perfect imitation of you. And I was like, really? Thinking, I'm so unique. How could you possibly do that? That's not possible. And he goes, yeah, it's like this. And it's like, dang it, that's it. Because I'll get curious about something and go, and what about da-da-da-da? So anyway, you can reverse that, a simple tool, elicit something about somebody, find it genuinely interesting, compliment them on it. Who doesn't want that? How isn't that just an instant rapport builder? It's a simple tool. And another takeaway from this is, of course, that some people are just jerks. No, the takeaway is some people are chuckleheads, and it's an important distinction to keep. No, the takeaway is you can learn something valuable even from a less than perfect experience. I'll have another reference to that a little later. So where was I? 3 trips to Bernheim, 10 too deep. Hippolyte Bernheim, Nancy School in France, 1840 to 1919, I believe. Doesn't matter, you can look it up. Wikipedia. Or Google, whatever you want. He was the father of fractionation, unless I'm mistaken, who realized that when he had people come back, that each session they would go deeper. And he thought one time, well, I'd send them back, they come back, they go deeper, they go out, weekdays, whatever, come back, they go deeper. Couldn't I just have them do that in one session? And so he started to do this where he would raise them up and drop them down and raise them up and drop them down. And so that's what you notice we did earlier in that induction, where eyes open, eyes closed. So you're going from a deep state up to, eyes open, looking at things, and then boom, right back down. And boy, I don't know about you, but my experience has always been I just drop each time deeper and deeper down. So fabulous, fabulous addition to the field of hypnosis. So Hippolyte Bernheim, 3 trips to Bernheim. That's step 3. 3 trips to Bernheim. 10 too deep. That's, as I understand it, that was the Elman configuration. Tried and true. Why mess with it? I've seen people do 5 fractionations. I think I saw one guy do up to 7 fractionations, but to my mind, it just kind of loses its potency the more you do. 3 seems to be the sweet spot. So 3 trips to Bernheim, 10 too deep. 4 fingers dangling. Wait, is it? No. 4 fingers. 4 fingers, wrist, you know the score, loose limp dangling, falling toward the floor. That's step 4 of the Elman induction, the large muscle catalepsy. So step 1, take a finger pointed high, pretend to poke yourself in the eye, small muscle catalepsy, eye closure. Step 2, take a peace sign, head to toe, and soon you'll be relaxing. So that's full body relaxation. And step 3, 3 trips to Bernheim, you got the fractionation. 4, large muscle catalepsy. Now we did this differently. We did rigid arm catalepsy, and they're both catalepsy. One is, this is locked out, and this is actually more traditional. I actually looked it up the other day, and the Greek word that it's from is katalepsis, which literally meant to grasp or to hold. And so it was just a rigidness of the muscles, but really it's that the muscles aren't working. So whether they're not working, or in our context it is, whether it's not working because it's stiff or whether it's not working because it's so limp it's just not doing anything, it's good. You do it either way. Rigid arm is good in a group setting. Rigid arm is good if you're doing it online, because obviously you can't walk around and check the person's arm to see if it's really limp. 4 or 5, that was 4. 5 numbers. 5 numbers, but they won't stay. Count backwards as they fade away. And that's the physical action. If you do the physical action, it'll help you remember it. I see a lot of people aren't. That's your choice. It's up to you. If you get it, you got it. If you didn't get it, you don't got it. It's still mine, as somebody used to say. 6. Step 6, you're almost there. One more deepener, perhaps going downstairs. That's kind of clinky. It's been a while since I've taught this class, so I think I had smoother language before, but you get the drift. You want to do one more deepener just to kind of seal it in, and you could do anything. There's a list of endless deepeners. You could do being aware of your feet and your shoes, and you're focusing there, and as you're aware of that, it goes even deeper. You could elicit laughter. You feel a little giggle, a little wiggle in your tummy, and it grows into laughter. You know that process. You've probably seen it. And as that subsides, you go even deeper. Anything you can draw their attention to can draw them even deeper. So that's as wide open as your imagination. So those are the 6 steps of the Ullman process. Now, I want to go through, especially since we have an analog clock, just a little 12-step structure. If you're doing street hypnosis, 12 is not a magic number. Well, it is a magic number, but not for what we're doing today. So step 1, we already demonstrated. That was what I like to say is the call, the pitch, the patter, to play, to bring them in from far away. So I wouldn't recommend that. I've never seen anybody else do it. I just wanted to do it because I thought it was cool and fun. It kind of reminded me of little carnival barkers from a bygone era. And if you've ever seen the movie Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, there's this street seller at the very beginning who's doing this rap. And it's kind of like, that was kind of the inspiration for it. Because he's talking about too late will be the cry when the man with the boggins has passed you by, and you'll be crying tears as big as October cabbages. And he just goes on and on. It's delightful. So I just like that because especially if you're in a fair area, if you're in a noisy place, it draws attention. It's silly, it's playful, it does impart certain knowledge. It's free. We'll take groups or just you. We're just having fun. So I think it draws attention, it gives people some information, and it shows that you didn't just decide right now you were going to do it, because it took some effort to be able to rattle that off and not choke. So the whole line that I used to remember for step 1 is the call, the pitch, the patter, to play, to bring them in from far away. And if they don't come to you, don't feel sick. C-I-Q, because it's backward. Give yourself a kick, C-I-Q. Yes, I'm spelling it weird the same way and using it with 2 different pronunciations. The point of it is this: C-I-Q stands for Compliment Introduction Question. This actually comes from Ross Jeffries' work in the pickup artist community. I got it via the work of Anthony Jacquin, who's a British hypnotist. He's got a really great book on street hypnosis called Reality is Plastic. Got a lot of stuff online. He's a great resource. His father, Freddie Jacquin, is a great resource for therapeutic hypnotism. Compliment introduction question. And I modeled that a little in the beginning and it was true. Barb, that's a great, I like the shirt and the scarf. And that's the thing too, if it's not genuine, people will read it. So you really, I think it's good for people's mental health just to notice things that are fun, for your own cognitive hygiene. I think it's awesome to just get used to going, like that's a neat necklace. There's just all kinds of neat little things to draw your attention to that you can compliment people about, that is not, it's not a threatening thing. So, you know what I'm saying? I don't have to get in depth with that, but you want to compliment them in a neutral, friendly, nice way. And especially if it's about something they've chosen or they've accomplished or created that's in a way sort of validating of something, no matter how minor. Who doesn't like that? So compliment introduction. Hi, my name's Shawn. I'm a clinical and performing hypnotist. We're here doing street hypnosis today. Would you like to play? Would you like to play some mental games? Would you like to do some cognitive calisthenics? You look like you're a group of people with big, fast brains who know how to use them. How about it? Let's go. So step 1, the call. Step 2, introduction. Meet, greet with good form. And there's another rhyme there and I'm forgetting it. That's a shame. I need to teach more often. Essentially, you want to do it with power, presence, and warmth. And this goes back to the work of Olivia Fox-Cabane and her book, The Charisma Myth. And after doing a lot of study, what she found is charisma is not something you either possess or don't possess. It's something that you can develop, like a muscle or anything else. Your ability to public speak, your ability to do hypnotic inductions, your ability to do various things, whatever you want. And the 3 main elements, and she goes very in depth on what they are and the different mixes that produces different types of charisma. But for our purposes, presence, power, warmth, that just leads to a much better presence, presence, power, warmth. That's because that's circular, so I really should. Anyway, so presence, power, warmth. How do you get those things? Presence. There's a trick with presence, and it's a silly one, but it works. And that is, for a split second, just think about your toe. For some reason, just being aware of your big toe sucks you right back into your body. You could be thinking about, what are these people? What are they thinking? How much time do I have? And you think about your big toe, and suddenly you're fully embodied again. And it tends to show this guy's in touch with his body. He could be falling over, but you know what I mean? You're in balance, you're present, you're right here. You're fully engaged with what's happening in this moment. So presence, power. Power, this little subsection is actually part of a bigger talk that I give called Relax and Be Powerful that I did back in, it doesn't matter. Anyway, I've done before the Guild before, it's been a while. And this, I like to tap into the work of Amy Cuddy, who has one of the most popular TED Talks in the history of TED. And essentially what her studies were showing, that just as in the animal kingdom, dominance is physically displayed by taking up space, by being free in movement and feeling threatened, feeling passive, feeling low on a hierarchy. People, animals, we are animals, tend to contract. We get little. If we're worried about getting attacked, we don't want a limb out there that's going to get bit or ripped off. I mean, to put it in the most basic terms. And you can see it in animals, if they're in a passive state, if they're in a dominant state, and you can see it in humans. It reacts the same way. And she was a big advocate of at least once a day, taking an expansive posture, not in front of people. You don't want to do that because that sends signals to them. And the constituency for this is you're sending signals to yourself about feeling powerful and capable and relaxing out into just, one of them is the Superman pose. And I got to tell you, give it a try. The proof of the pudding is in the eating. Give it a try for a few days. I like to put on a certain classical march that's got a great rhythm to it, and just you play that and you just take a deep breath, raise your chin, and boy, you feel like you're on top of the world. It's just do it for yourself. It's a lovely thing. So power, presence, and warmth. Warmth, just a certain amount of eye contact. Just a certain amount of eye contact where it's not threatening. It's just very friendly. It's engaged. I see you as an individual. I'm really trying to let you know that you're there, we're here, and it's a nice thing. So power, presence, and warmth. When you greet, although you might be thinking, what's the next step? Did I do this? Where's the camera? Who's watching this? You might have a lot of things in your mind, but that key of being present, power, presence, and warmth will really help you with that person, whoever they are. Because the more comfortable they are, the more they're going to relax into the process you're guiding them into. Whether it's in the therapy room or whether it's out on the street, especially out on the street. So let's see. Stretching, talked about that. The friction between the two sides, the benefit of cross-training, we talked about that. I didn't make one point that I do want to make. The therapy side can, I think, benefit from certain techniques from the performance side. And really, I just want to make this one point. There have been several practicing hypnotists that I've spoken with, and people who've gone to see hypnotists that I've spoken with, who will say, especially if the person used a progressive muscle relaxation, well, I sat in a chair and I got real relaxed, but was it hypnosis? I don't really know. Which is why I think, and it's already in the curriculum, we already teach this, the lemon exercise, the concentration tests, whether it's finger magnets, hand clasp, light arm, heavy arm, bucket and balloon, however you want to talk about it. Postural sway. We have all these concentration tests that are already in the curriculum that are a bit of that, giving a bit of phenomena. But I think people either stop using them or, for whatever reason. I tell you, if you stick somebody's hand to a table, they know something happened. It's very different than I sat in a chair, I closed my eyes, I relaxed. Yeah, my hand was stuck. That was weird. Something happened. The first time it was actually at World Hypnotist Day 2011, and Michael Brennan was teaching a class. It was my first class on street hypnosis, and he did a hand stick to the table. And I got to tell you, yeah, it was like that. Wow, okay, that's pretty cool. That's why I came. In fact, let's just do that now. Go ahead and take a hand and just put it on the table, if you'd be so kind, and just, yeah, there we go. And yeah, go ahead and I'm going to shift this. Is okay? Shift this. Go ahead and put this forward a little bit. Maybe move your chair if you need to. Yeah, go ahead and put your forearm all the way. I'm going to Shift your chairs. Okay, there, Barb. There we go. There we go. That's right. Can I just put that a little forward? Boop, 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 boop. There we go. Great. Perfect. Perfect. Move your elbow a little forward. All great. Great. Wonderful. Now, go ahead and take in your right hand. So I had actually scoped out the wrong location where there was a table because I knew I wanted to do this. But that's fine. We'll just imagine a table. Good table. And now, I really want you to visualize in your other hand a big tube of super glue. And you've already popped the top off of it. And you're just going to take this and just run it all the way through around your hand. And just really visualize that between every finger, making that seam between every, squirting a little underneath the palm, pushing that palm down, and making that as vivid a mind experience as you can. Just feeling that gooey feeling. If you've ever actually stuck your arm to something with super glue, you know exactly what that feeling is. And now you can have that feeling again, but without the panic. And just feel that adhering to the table, becoming part of the table. And the more you focus on that hand, just look at that hand and focus on that hand. Focus on it just fusing with the table, becoming part of the table, sinking, solidifying with the table till it's one piece, locking in. And the more you focus on it and make it real with the power of your mind, the more it will be real. And once you know you've fused it to the table, locked it in tight, fused it in, it's part of the table, it's part of the tabletop. If you try to move that, you're likely to move the table. Give it a tug and a try and show yourself the power of your own mind and how you fuse that hand right to that table. Go ahead now. Give it a try and satisfy yourself. And the harder you try, the tighter it sticks. The tighter it sticks, the more focused you are. How wonderful the power of your own mind is. In a moment, I'm going to snap my fingers and it's going to come free. You'll just take it off, give it a stretch, give it a bit of a movement. 1, 2, and 3. Go ahead and move that hand. It looks like everybody got a good result in the room. If you did it at home, I hope you got a good result. And the key really is just how clearly you visualize that, how thoroughly you can make that a vivid mind experience. And when you achieve the result once, it's just an awesome feeling. And like a lot of things, once you've experienced it yourself, you are so much more likely to want to do it with somebody else. Because it's a neat thing and you want to share it. We like to share neat things generally. So that's a great thing to do. So step 1 is the call. Step 2, the meet, the greet. Step 3, pre, it rhymes with pre. Step 3 is the pre-talk. And I used to say the pre-talk so they don't balk, and into hypnosis, they happily walk. Earlier, you saw me hit my phone and I had just a shade over a minute because I didn't stop it at the right time. It said 1:10. I went a little long because I didn't stop it. The point of that is, and this, I want to give credit where credit is due, that pre-talk is modeled on Shawn Michael Andrews, who's billed as the world's fastest hypnotist. I think one of his websites is worldfastesthypnotist.com. Really accomplished performer and hypnotist. And that's, I tried to do a very clean version. The one I do has a little extra there, but since I was going to cite source and say this is based on his, I wanted to do as clean a version of his as I could. So it's not verbatim, it's pretty close. But the point of it is, especially out on the street and even in a therapy room, you want to address people's worries. And we don't want to say worries, which is why I say people wonder. Wonder is always so much more neutral and better than worry. People have worries about hypnosis. You don't want to say that. You don't want them to hear that. You don't want to hear it 4 times as you're addressing various things. So there are 3 common misconceptions people have about hypnosis. 1, people wonder about a loss of control. That is a big one. People have seen movies. There's a new one out now where people, lose total control. Something happens and they're stuck in there like robots to somebody else. So there are people with real worries. One of the first trainings I ever did as a student, street hypnosis training, we actually went out in Seattle, and I was not skilled at that point. I mean, I knew other things in a therapeutic context, but the street stuff was still pretty new. I hadn't worked it out at all. Now it's fine. But at the time, it struck me as so funny because we were doing this. There was a group of us, and there was one woman with her husband, and she was just like, she would not look me in the eyes. It was so fascinating. She was finally she said, "Yeah, I don't want to look you in the eyes." And I thought, it's just me. What are you talking about? But anyway, so be prepared for that. And especially in the street setting, that can be to your advantage. They already have a belief in your power to achieve a result. So that's fine. But you want to take any sense of threat or worry out of it, because obviously we're all going to defend ourselves. So you got to take the fears out. So just to walk through that, there are 3 common misconceptions about hypnosis, and you can find this online. This is why I feel free to share it. It's out on YouTube. You can find it. There are 3 common misconceptions about hypnosis. 1, people wonder about a loss of control. There's no loss of control. You'll never do anything to violate any of your moral, religious, or personal beliefs or values, or do anything you think is just too silly for you. Next, people wonder about telling secrets. Well, again, there's no loss of control, so there's no loss of control of you keeping your secrets. 3, people wonder about getting, someone said it, wonder about getting stuck in hypnosis. 4,000 years of hypnosis by various names in various places. Nobody ever gets stuck, but sometimes it can feel so good. If you've ever done Esdale State, you know it. Feels so good, you wish you could get stuck, but you can't. And that way you're running through the big fears, the big worries people have, just taking them out and moving on, and it gives you more time to do whatever you're going to do. So the call, the greet, the pre-talk, 4, the scan. Now, in the, somewhere in there, now 12 is very arbitrary. And if I were to do it now, you know, I've added numbers, I've taken numbers out. It really depends on what you're working on at the time and the things you want to keep in your own cognition as you're doing street hypnosis or whatever process you're doing. Pilots, they have a free pre-flight checklist. They go through certain things every single time to make sure they're doing the process correctly and not missing something that's going to cause a problem later. So 12, it's a 1 structure. I'm just giving it to you as a model. It's change it as you want, throw it out completely, that's fine. One of the things that is not in there that you need to be aware of, it's not specifically enumerated in that 12, but it's very critical, especially in street hypnosis, is you are, when that person is trusting you to perform a process with them, you are responsible for their physical safety. Not just what the surrounding is, but what's happening in that surrounding. So I had a really good example, and it's going to affect their ability to follow your instructions and go into trance. So I had a really good example. We were out on Alki Beach. Jim was there. In fact, Jim filmed it. And I was working with this young woman, and we were talking, and I just approached, you know, where she was, and I didn't pay attention to the fact initially that the road was behind her. And the sidewalk was behind her. We were kind of off to the side. And so I'm talking to her, and I notice, and she's very relaxed. She's standing, you know, just standing, feet apart, comfortable, solid, relaxed. And some people walked behind her, and nothing moved except her foot, which was this. And I realized, oh yeah, that's not safe. There's people behind you. That's going to distract you. That would distract me. Because she went from being almost like set, solidly set, not very movable, to, and I don't even know if she did it consciously, you know, perceiving, oh, there's something happening behind me. I should be on my toes in case, you know, something happens. So you want to be cognizant of that. And so I immediately said, hey, would you mind, could you just, and there was a little monument there. If you're probably used to Alki, you probably know what I'm thinking of. And I just said, would you mind just putting your back toward that? That way there's nobody going behind you. I'd find that distracting. I don't know if you would or not. So I'm not putting anything on her. And her physicality went back to a relaxed state, and we had a really good time. So if you're doing street, there's things not in the 12. We'll get through the 12. We'll go quicker through the 12. But you want to be cognizant of the person's physical safety, both, and especially with the terrain, and especially what is your physical relationship to them. I mean, in this room, there is such a variation in physicalities. We've got some pretty stout guys, and we got some women who are smaller, there's younger, there's older, there's a huge mix. And so especially in the domain of street hypnosis, you really want to be cognizant of what happens if they just flop. Because sometimes you will get the proverbial flopper. They're out there, they exist. And you think, well, but one of my first suggestions is legs strong underneath you, rest of your body loose, limp, and relax. Strong and steady, you're talking about the legs to keep them strong and steady underneath you. You're not going to have time for that. Because when these people go, you go, sleep, and then boom, they're jello. And so you've got to be prepared for that. So if you're a big guy and the person's about your size or smaller, yeah, okay, I can take that. I know how I'm going to move. If they move, I've got it. If they are a lot bigger, hey, there's a bench over there. Let's do this on the bench. Guard your safety, guard their safety. You know, there's nothing worse than you're going out to improve your skills, give somebody a good experience, have a good time, and something foreseeable happens. Enough unforeseeable things can happen. You want to really take precautions with your safety, with their safety, to make sure everybody comes in and out of that interaction in a really wonderful, positive way, so it's a good experience for everybody. So just want to make that point. So 4, scan. It's really important. A lot of the rapid instant inductions might involve, especially, so rapid inductions, the Elman is considered a rapid induction. It's only a couple of minutes. It's not a 45-minute progressive relaxation induction. There are inductions that are considered instant inductions or shock inductions. Hand drop induction is one, especially seated, standing up. I would always recommend that to be seated. I don't know where Jim went. I would use him. He's a great subject. So for those, they are instant and there is a shock element involved. I used to talk about, if you've ever heard of Colonel John Boyd and the OODA loop, I like talking about it because it's just fun to say OODA loop, OODA loop, OODA loop. But it means observation, observe, orient, decide, and act. And that is the decision-making process in combat, in life, whatever. I observe my surroundings, I orient to them, I decide what I'm going to do, and I take action. And as a fighter pilot, if you can get inside somebody's OODA loop, then you can beat them, you know, every time. And associate that to a pattern interrupt, where you're running a process and boom, somebody interrupts that pattern, and okay, now that process is not happening. They don't often just go right back to doing what they were doing. They have to orient, observe, orient, decide, act. So they have to run that OODA loop again. For a shock induction, people talk about PGO spikes. PGO spikes. Pons in the midbrain, geniculate, and on to the occiput in the back, which is basically a jolt through your system that makes you immediately puts you kind of into fight or flight, where the critical factor is bypassed and you have a split second to give a command, which for us is sleep. And it just requires, it doesn't have to be a huge shock. Momentary bit of mental or physical loss of equilibrium is sufficient. And the first time I ever had an experience where it's like, oh, this is totally real. Kind of like the hand stick. When I did a hand stick, I went, wow, that's good. This experience happened. I want to tell you real quick because I just find it funny. To tell that one, I'll tell this one really quick. So I used to work in a law firm. This was a lifetime ago. It was before the last turn of the century. I'm going to talk quick because I want to get through this. I worked for a guy named John Edwards. John Edwards, in his youth, was a door gunner in Vietnam. He'd seen a lot of stuff. He was the kind of guy who'd give you a look and you knew, wow, that guy's got depths. I really don't want to plumb. I'll just do what he says. So John Edwards was a wonderful guy. Worked in a law firm, and John Edwards said, the thing you must remember, you can survive just fine working in law firms, but you must remember that the attorneys and especially the partners are the the way it started was this. Law firms are the last bastion of feudalism. That's how he started. And the attorneys, especially the partners, are the noble lords and ladies from which all blessings flow. And as long as you can remember that, you will survive fine working in a law firm. But if you for one instant forget that, you do so at your peril, because despite their egalitarian pronouncements, they will never forget it. And people have lost their jobs because of that momentary lapse, which was great advice and very true, and it helped me in law firms later. So I'm working in a law firm later. It's a different law firm. And I'm thinking my own thoughts. I was doing a lot of things. I'm going to the men's room, and as I'm taking a step to push the door open, suddenly the door flies open, and there's a corner office partner right there who's a shorter man than me. So suddenly my fingers are right here. And I'm thinking my own thoughts, and I'm taking a step, and suddenly I think, why am I poking a corner office partner in the eyes? I'm gonna get fired. I'm gonna pay rent. All these things are rushing to my head. And if somebody had said sleep right then, I would have gone, yeah, sleep. I don't want to be here. Absolutely. Sleep. I can do that. This mess, I don't know what's happening. Sleep? Yeah. And a lot of instant inductions are based on, not that drastic, but that momentary shock, just a little shock. Doesn't have to be a big shock. In fact, I talked to in my first class because I was tapping the head pulling the head too hard. Like, no, don't pull the hair off. Just a little bit. You just need a little shock. I know we got to wrap up here soon. So 4, scan. It's really important because you might be pulling an arm, pulling a bit on the neck. just a little bit of business. One thing, you don't have to always pull on a neck. Sometimes you're just pushing up on the back of the head, which gets the chin tilt forward as you pull an arm a little bit. You want to make sure that they are physically healthy, because people can look very healthy. You don't know what injuries they might have. I always say, do you have any, what is the line? Injuries, ailments, or infirmities, either mental or physical, that get in the way of what we're doing today. Just cover it all. And then I like to do it in a playful, silly way to keep things light. And usually they'll say no, but sometimes, let me just take a moment to say, there are so many ways to do this. So I'm giving you a structure that I like, but that's just to give you ideas. You're going to find your own way to do this. There's some things you should probably keep in mind. Because some people, for me, permission to touch is a whole process. And I also use it as a yes set. So I'll say, do you have any injuries, ailments, or infirmities that are either mental or physical that are going to get in the way of what we're doing today? And they'll usually say no. And I'll say, great. So your ankles are awesome? And they'll say yes. And I'll go, great. Your knees are stable and able like a table? And they'll kind of giggle and go, well, yeah. Hips are happy. Ribs are rigid. Can't deal with jelly ribs. Maybe after a few suggestions for relaxation, but not at the beginning. Yeah, ribs are good. Okay. And I'll just go all the way through. And well, what did you get them to do? There was your yes set right there. You got them to say yes, yes, yes. So they're already in that yes state when you start moving to other things. So it gives you your body scan. Again, it's playful. It's keeping it light. And it gets them your yes set out of the way in a way that doesn't seem contrived and kind of disjointed, because sometimes people will ask questions and get yeses, but it just seems really contrived. So that's the permission to touch. Oh, that's the scan. Permission to touch. Excuse me. Similar thing. Permission to touch. Sometimes it's helpful through this process if I can touch various places. Are you okay? I'm going to go through a list. We'll start at the hand, go to the wrist. I'll go through the list. And if it's okay, just say yes. Is it okay to touch the back of your hand? Yes. Okay to give your wrist a shake? Yes. Okay to touch the arm, touch the shoulder, top, back of the head? Yes. Great. Let's get underway. So just want to check the body. Now, some people, permission to touch is, hey, do you mind if, are you ready to go? My name's Shawn, whatever. If they shake the hand, that was considered permission to touch and the people go. If you're doing it one guy to another guy, that might be fine, depending on the relationship you're feeling between the person, the energy you're feeling between the person. But especially if you're a fairly large man working with a woman, I like to do something just really to drive that point home. I don't want to assume anything with touch with a member of the opposite sex. It's just too dicey for me. I'm not going to go there. But for others, once they shake hands, that's permission to touch and we go. People do what they're going to do. As I said, there's many ways to do this. Another thing, just with watching the physical location of things, in working with multiple people, sometimes, as I said, I like to put their back near a wall so that they feel safe. Nothing can come up behind them as they're closing their eyes out in the wild, right? But if you're working with a group of people, especially if you don't have a woman on the team, you want to make sure that, and especially if you're working with a subject who's female and the other people on your team, there aren't any females on your team, always make sure that there is clear and open space. You never want that person to just primally feel like they're getting surrounded. They might not even think of it consciously, but you'll notice a little stiffening and that's counterproductive. You'll notice like that, where the feet come together so I can move now, as opposed to being real stretched out and stable. So I always wanted to make sure that if the wall is there, they're protected from the back. I'm usually here or maybe over on the other side, or I might even move. But I always wanted to make sure if there was another guy with me, he was off that way or over there or behind me. So at no point did the person sense, male or female, sense my eyes are closed, there's a person here, I'm feeling somebody else move in here. And even if that's just an up the back of the spine rectal brain thing, it's going to distract from what you want to do. So there's that.